So, hello everyone, and welcome to Music Business Academy here in Berlin, Berlin edition. And I'm really excited, really happy to be with one of my favorite artists. And I'm not saying this because I'm here, sit down with him. It's because it's true. And yeah, he's also one of my influence. And I really, really, really appreciated that he found time to spend with us. So, hi Sidney, how you doing?
Good, man. Thanks a lot for the nice words, man.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for having us in your lovely studio where the magic comes from. How I told you, and yeah, let's start. So maybe you can tell to the people who is Sidney Charles and what is your role in the industry. For the people that maybe doesn't know you.
Okay, yeah, sure. So mainly, I'm a music producer and DJ. So I'm DJing, I think now more or less 8 years professionally. Before it was like a hobby, locally, and then it's kind of slowly evolved. And yeah, with the time, I also became label manager, A&R, and and I founded my own label last year as well.
Yeah, actually, I'm really happy that you start with the project now, because this is sometimes the natural process when any artist gets your level. So to have the chance to create your own project and represent your sound. So really happy for that. And I want to ask you, how was your first steps in the music industry, like back in the days, and especially that you are not from Berlin? How and when do you move to Berlin, and why?
Yeah, it's good that you ask it like this because my move to Berlin was definitely connected to taking the first steps into the industry. I'm originally from Hamburg. Hamburg is cool. It has a nice scene for club music or house music, but it's still very small, And if you want to see international artists, they come, I think, not often enough for my personal taste. And yeah, Berlin is totally different. It's probably one of the main hubs or epicenters for electronic music in the world. And I think the first steps in the industry professionally, it's not very easy to identify that because this is a lot of little small steps and doors that open after another to kind of lead to something bigger later on. But I definitely would say one of my first releases where I got some more attention of bigger artists in the scene was on Kling Klong. Really long time ago, I think 7 years ago, 8 years ago, something like that. And this was something where I realized that bigger DJs were playing my music because it was a label that was more well known, and through that I was able to reach also DJs who play regularly on big festivals, nightclubs, who are known by other smaller DJs, for example, or by anyone who enjoys music. And when I moved to Berlin, my inspiration became much bigger. I was able to listen to my favorite artists almost every weekend, but also listen to music styles that I would normally not do,
Yeah.
So with the time, then my inspiration became better. I got better with my equipment. I was more familiar with producing, and this is also a very long progress, I think, And then there was one moment where I got a call from Markus Scholz, is a manager who back then used to manage Panpot, Mandy, and the Mobile Records crew.
Anja Schneider.
Anja Schneider and all these guys. And nowadays, I think he's managing Amelie Lenz.
Okay.
And this is a full-time job.
Exactly.
So he called me and he was like, man, hi, my name is Marcus. I heard your name quite a lot in the last weeks. Do you want to meet up? And I was like, okay. Then, I didn't know who it was. But when we met up, he explained who he was. And then I realized, okay, there are some people who are working professionally in this industry who are interested in
my music,
and they think it could be something more than just a hobby. you know, and after that I became really, really focused and really, really motivated to go on, to go further, and to put more energy and also money into it. Because in the beginning, probably it's a problem from a lot of producers that they don't have a lot of money to invest.
Exactly, yeah.
Everything is like in the box, and you want to have equipment, you want to have good monitors, so
Yeah, you have low profile because
because of that, but and simultaneously I became friends with Philip Santé, who helped me a lot back then to get my feet into the scene. He was already well known as producer for Tiefschwarz or Monika Kruse. He did a lot of like movie productions. So he was already in the scene for 10 years and playing professionally. And he became like my first friend in the scene, who kind of helped me out to also play gigs in Berlin. And he was just about to found his label Avotre. And he asked me whether I want to help him with that, to find the right sound, and also to release my music on there. So yeah, I think these were these three main steps for me that kind of where I realized, okay, I was able to get my steps inside the scene professionally.
Yeah, really great. Abotre was one of the labels which I was checking out, and actually I remember your track with I think you make a track with Hector Morales, like on the podcast a cappella.
Yeah.
That track was amazing, man. It was so much fun. Okay, so and how you will explain how is your routine? Do you have a routine that you want to keep every day, or how you manage your week, your daily stuff?
Yeah, normally I have, but I have a son now.
Okay,
Yeah,
congratulations.
Thanks, man. Thanks. He's like 6 months, so
Wow.
my routine is mainly around him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to adapt everything around that. But yeah, normally my routine was to go to the studio every day in the morning, and then check demos first, get some inspiration, check music from other people, always get the input before I kind of produce my own output. I always like to do that, just to get inspired, to listen to old music, whatever, even different kinds of styles. Yeah, and then I normally just jam around and see where it brings me. I'm not really that type of guy, producer who has a really big idea, or and then just tries to realize that. I always try to be creative and just to let it flow, kind of. Yeah. And yeah, well, with my son now, I normally go to the studio maybe 2 times a week, maybe 3 times when I'm lucky,
More family time, no?
Yeah, more family time. I mean, if he gets older, it will get back to normal, of course, when he goes to kindergarten or whatever. But at the moment, I'm just producing from home as well.
Okay, so you have also a studio at home? A little setup?
Little setup. I have just some monitors, little keyboards, MIDI keyboards, good headphones, and then I can work on some ideas as well. Perfect. And then, if I have something good done, I can get back to the studio.
Okay, so you will define yourself like a structured person, or like you like to feel the flow of the day, or you have your planning?
I'd say more structured.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it always depends, what happens. Like there's so many more responsibilities. If you have a family, they have to take care of before. When you're single, you can just do whatever you like.
Yeah, but then you have that responsibility. You need to be more.
But still, even when I was single, I always had my day really structured.
Okay.
Yeah.
That keep you also like on the. Do you enjoy this structure, or sometimes you will like to be more, I don't know, just follow the flow, or you really enjoy?
I enjoy that, actually. Okay. I mean, when you're touring a lot and then your life gets more and more a mess, your different time zones, you have to eat at the airport and the plane. So if your big part of your life is like a bit chaotic and messy, then I always like to keep it, when I have the control over it, I like to keep it structured. And this also gives me a good balance to the touring life.
Actually, I'm not like this kind of person, like to put labels on music, but it's true, like now we are living in this kind of evolution, no? And I want to ask you, because you will more like, or the people, I think back in the days, it was no more seeing itself for this kind of tech house sound, and how you will define your evolution, like why you will like. I don't want to say like you are now became more deep tech artist or whatever. How you will say about how was the evolution? How was the process for you? Was natural, or it was one moment that you thought, okay, I don't want to produce more tech house. I want to change. So how was for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the big challenges as an artist, like you as well, is to try new things, because it gets boring if you do the same things over time. So I always tried different styles. I mean, from, as you said, my releases from DFTD or Avoce is, I always had like one foot inside the old school sound, always.
Yeah, exactly.
Like more saturated, distorted 909 grooves,
The
bit
drums,
like chordy, the drums, yeah.
drums are really all this good stuff.
Yeah, that's always what I try to do. Is this is actually my sound that I think I'm identified with. But yeah, I did some techno stuff as well. I did some releases on drum codes,
Yeah, it's true.
True
It's
Soul.
true. It's
So
true.
this was the time where I was experimenting. And then, yeah, I think my sound became a bit more tech housey for a time, simply because I think after my residency in Ibiza 4 years ago, I think there was more and more attention, and people were kind of expecting that, you know, for me to produce music that's also a bit more for the brighter mass. But still, I think I always try to keep my red line to produce music that sounds like me. I think this is most important about being an artist. I personally don't like to see artists moving from styles too much and just going with the sound which is famous at the moment. I think this is kind of a bit like selling your soul for being famous or something.
I completely agree.
So, and also when I realized that tech house became very, very monotonic, all about big breaks and snare rolls and the pitched down hip hop vocals, I was not feeling it anymore. You know, like tech house in the beginning was super cool. I think really, really deep as well, and its evolution became something that I don't identify with anymore. And even now, the deep tech or minimal, how you want to call it, I don't even think it's so minimal. For me, minimal is more like Romanian kind of Ricardo Villalobos,
RPA and Rise and
this kind of stuff, Zip, and you know. And the stuff I make, for me, is house music still. Like they are not so different from what I've done in the beginning with DFTD or on Avotre. It's not, maybe it's a bit more tight, a bit more modern, but I think the vibes and what it represents is still house music.
Yeah, I agree. So and now, for example, because if I need to start to talk about all the labels when you release, it will take the entire interview. But one thing that I think is a really good advice from people like you, especially to the newcomers, is like how you approach to labels. Like how was back in the days? Because now I can understand it's easier for you because they know you. Of course, you need to make your name, and then it's like they will listen to you. It's easier. But how was for you in the beginning to approach to label? How was your way to get in with them? Did you make something special or?
Yeah, I think it's in the beginning it's very, very difficult, simply because they receive so many demos that it can just go under, you know. And even if your tracks are really, really good, probably they don't even get to listen them. But I think what I always try to do is I don't send my tracks there in the first place. I always write them first and say, hey, listen, my name is Sidney Charles. I'm a music producer from I really love your label, the sound that it represents. Would you be open to listen to my stuff? You know, and it not be so like picky about getting my tracks there and release them. More open-minded, saying, yeah, I love what you do. And then ask them, do you want to listen to my stuff? Because if you send it there and they don't listen to demos at the moment anyways, it's worse for you because they won't answer. If you ask a question, they probably answer you.
Yeah, so we talk about like you became father and everything changed for you, but how this situation which we are living changed your life, in which like, and how looks the present for teenagers and how looks the upcoming future?
Yeah, well, as any artist probably at the moment, we are stuck in this bubble. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, and but I actually found myself in a position making music more freely than usual. I was not with my head too much in the future, thinking about the next weekend, thinking about the next tour. I was just sitting in my studio, and there was no pressure. So yeah, this was the first month,
Yeah,
but after a time,
time.
you lack a lot of inspiration from getting around, meeting people,
Yeah, it's like traveling.
traveling. It's all something that you know, as an artist, you take it on and you work with that. And if when this kind of part is missing, you will realize that in the studio after time. So I think the best thing that I did was just like learning. I became part of some different teaching platforms, and also then teach myself after a while there, and getting to know new equipment, new hardware,
Yeah,
new ways of producing, new ways of the creative process. And yeah, I think this really was a really good thing for me, because I was able to release tracks on really good labels that are all coming out now and about to come out. So this kind of closing down, making music, concentrating on new stuff, really pushed up my creative process, and I was able to make better music than before. What I think personally.
Actually, congrats, man, because the last releases are really rocking, and
Thanks,
I'm
man.
so happy. And how is the relation of Sidney Charles and social media? How do you feel? Are you a social media professional guy, or how do you like handle of this post every day, or like do you feel comfy?
Yeah, I feel comfortable with it. It's not a big pain for me to work with social media. I mean, nowadays I think if it's even almost impossible to be around for a long time as an artist without using social media. It's just the best way to let people know about you and to gain following. And a lot of promoters who want to book you, they look at that, of course. I wouldn't say that I'm a big professional using social media. Sometimes I don't post things for a week or so, or even two. But when I am around, when I have material, I always use it as a tool to
Promote
to
yourself.
promote myself, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Now it became really important now that we cannot play, and how you say some promoters clubs check really if you are active on social media. And talking about this, how do you feel about the streamings? Were you picky with the streamings? Like, I will just only make something which looks really interesting, or what do you think? Because now it's like everyone is doing streamings, you know. So
Yes.
how is for you?
Well, I mean, I don't really enjoy so much streaming. Like when I play music, I don't like to do it for only myself. And yeah, of course, there are a lot of people looking at it around the world, but you don't feel that. It's like when you play for yourself. And so I try to be a bit more picky and just do the platforms from people I know, friends, and also with a really good reach, probably.
Exactly.
So this was something which was a criteria for me, and not to do every stream. You know, it was, I don't know. It's just a pain, I think.
Yeah, you need to be selective now, because of course, like artists like you receive so many requests, I can imagine. No, so you need to especially maybe sit down with your agency and
Yes.
talk. Okay, what makes sense for us to make it? What not? What will bring something for you,
Yes.
not only for the other side. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, I always thought, and it's true, like one of the keys to success is the networking. And networking is really important. What do you think about networking? How Sidney Charles make networking? Do you go to clubs to talk with promoters, or no? Maybe not. Or how was it for you? How in the past or now? How do you do it?
Definitely, I can definitely agree. In the beginning, networking is something that really gets you into the scene. as I said, when I met Santé, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to me to become a professional artist. So it's a good thing, but I think it should come out naturally.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be too focused on I want to become a musician. It's about making friends, hanging out with friends, and then things come out of that or not. And I think it's something that has to evolve out of friendship rather than just
business.
Being too orientated in that thing of becoming an artist or becoming a professional artist. And of course, at some point it becomes business and it is professional when you reach a certain level. And it's also good, I mean, as myself, I also have to realize that I'm a product. People buy me for a short time and then they make money out of that. So you have to realize that you are bring money for other people, and that's why they use you for that. So keeping that in mind, you can also behave yourself like that. You can be very professional, very business orientated. That's okay. But when it comes to the people you work with in a closer level, I always recommend to do it with a sense of friendship, and this will make things easier for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the life just gets better,
more natural.
Yes,
the process. And I mean, one of the most important things, and this is one of when they ask me, for example, about what you would say to the newcomers, is like when someone say it's okay. Because and some people get depressed or get so mad, like, no, they told me they don't like me, so what do you think about like to have a no as an answer? Like, for example, back in the day, sending music to labels and they say no. How did you handle in a good way, or for you was too hard to listen no?
Well, I think this is kind of the main strive for you to keep going.
Exactly.
I mean, for me, I received so many no's from labels, so many. But for me, it was like, okay, I will do better now. Better. It's just the best thing that you can do or that you can get is a feedback which is honest. And most of the people you send your music to, they have a lot of experience, and maybe you have less experience. So you should take it as something good that they actually listen to your music and tell you what they think, even when they say no. Maybe it's not nice when they say, man, your music is shit, I don't like it. Then you can say, okay, why he's talking like that? Maybe they have ego problems or whatever. But in the end, I think the road to becoming a professional artist is connected with a lot of failure.
Yeah, no question. Actually, I'm more into constructive feedbacks.
Yeah.
What you say, no? Like, I will never understand these kind of people, like, they are just go mad on you and say, your music is shit, no? It's just, okay, man, if you don't like it, don't go hard, or, like, make a proper feedback that I can develop, or I can get better, no?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, two last questions before we finish. Which advice you would say to the newcomer, to the people who wanna get into this wonderful world which we are living, but also sometimes hard as well? So, which is the Sidney Charles advice for people?
You mean for people who want to become artists?
Yeah,
or?
People who wanna enjoy the market, like a booker or artist. Or what is the advice for the people who are just a start?
Well, I think the main thing for me personally is always that someone is authentic, that they have a vision as well, that they concentrate on something they want to reach in the future. And if you have this vision, then I think you work much harder to achieve that. If you just try to do something and maybe it works, maybe not, I think you won't have a lot of motivation to keep going if something bad happens, if a failure happens. But if you have the vision and you really want to achieve that with everything that you can give, then nothing can stop you, I think.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
This is a good highlight to keep it. And there is any mistake that you did in the past that sometimes you say to yourself, oh man, why I did this, or how how I did this. Did you regret something from your career that sometimes creates some pain on you? Like,
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, if you achieve to become a professional artist and earning money with it, this is already something that a lot of people will be happy with. I was the same. As soon as I became my first gigs and I realized I'm getting money for DJing and I can actually stop all other work, I can live out of that, for me was like, okay, cool, now I'm super happy and I will say yes to everything.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because a lot of people will also try to take advantage of that. So a lot of people will come, maybe a management will say, hey man, I can get you to this management, to this booking agent, but I want to have my 20% fee from all your gigs or something. Which is okay, but in the end I found myself saying yes to too many things.
I know this
simply because I was too happy to make money out of my art. And at some point you have to realize that you have to be in a position and also like put your fist on the table and say, man, no, it doesn't work like that. I don't take this gig. I don't want it like this. I want it this way. And by doing that, you also grow as a person, But for me, it was hard to get the switch. And I did a lot of mistakes by simply saying yes to a lot of things I was just not really thinking about, just because I was happy being an artist.
In this moment with happiness. So
yes.
Okay, so again, thanks a lot, Sidney, for the time, for being part of the first run of interviews for Music Business Academy in Berlin, and thank you so much, really. Thanks for the time. Okay, so,
thanks a lot.
Yeah, take care and see you soon.
See you soon, brother.
Yeah.